big up Sutherland TV. You see me? You want to be me? Then log on to Sutherland TV.
Like, share, and subscribe this live. I am here this evening to talk about the outcome of the election. I mean, many Jamaicans are disappointed because they expect thought the half Jamaican was going to win, but to many surprise, Donald Trump had win miserably. Here to talk to us this evening about give us his feedback and the outcome of the election is no other than a familiar face that we have, and many people been asking for him for the longest while. Here he is with us this evening, Ronnie Sutherland. Good evening, Mr. Sutherland. How you doing?
Good evening, my brother. Good evening. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Well, let me ask you this: what the atmosphere like in Jamaica now that Donald Trump had won the election?
Well, I tell you something, the best word to describe the mood is somber, somber mood, for many reasons. Jamaican taken a liking to Kamala Harris. Her father is a Jamaican, a gentleman who originated in St. Anne. He would have done his high school in Titchfield High School in Portland. Mm-hmm. But he happened to be one of those very distinguished scholars coming out of Jamaica and economists, but apart from his scholastic achievement, her dad, has contributed a lot to Jamaica. So we in Jamaica, we know him,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he spent a lot of time coming back almost every year, assisting the government in railways, trying to assist them along economic policy matters. So we know her dad, and so, but quite strangely, we did not know Kamala, until quite recently, and it turned out that they have kind of the father and daughter have a kind of a strange relationship. Mm-hmm. I guess that rooted in the fact that she grew up with her mom, so because her father separated from her mother, who is of Indian descent.
Right.
So her Kamala grew up most of her life, in her youthful years and so on and so forth. Through her teenage years with her mom, much away from her dad. But what I do know is that her father always wanted her to be connected to Jamaica. And to the extent that he was able to, he would take Kamala and her sister to Jamaica almost every year that he was able to do it. Just to keep her connected to the country. But I guess over the years and so on, as they get older and the mother become more and more influential in their lives, she lost that connection, So as soon as Jamaicans recognize or identified that kind of association between her and Jamaica, we are locked onto her, because we are. We claim every Jamaican abroad that's doing well enough. If you're not doing well, we don't know you. We're happy to find one who was a former attorney general out there in California and eventually becoming, a U.S. senator. Then, of course, vying to become, a U.S. president. Remember, where she really come to national prominence when she, went out to vie for the presidency. And she was even up against Biden. I don't know if you remember that episode between she and Biden, where she gave the impression that Biden was part of some busing arrangement, but want to place Biden as a kind of a racist, but she was quickly, rebuked on that, because in fairness to Biden has had a long life of fighting, for minorities and Black people in particular.
Right.
So that did not go well. But what was interesting is that Biden eventually overlooked that, forgave her, and selected her to be his running mate after she dropped out of the presidential, primaries. So that was a story. But Jamaicans, so as soon as we discover, we start to, follow her, start to root for her, and so her not going on to be, and we were very hopeful about it. We were happy about the amount of effort behind her, the money behind her, and we thought she had a good ground game. So we're very hopeful. What happened last night was a big surprise. Most Jamaicans that I spoke to earlier today were still suffering from headache from last night. So, it's a sad day for Jamaica. I can tell you that.
Okay. So are you any at all, though, as a man that is very rounded and, share space with many people, and keep on the up and up with international news and everything, and you may have followed the election, were you any at all surprised by last night's outcome?
To be honest with you, I was very surprised. The problem, however, is that I was largely relying on the polls, to indicate what our chances were. And even though the polls were consistently saying that the race was close, and, when we look at what it was saying, the polls were always in our favor. So it's close, but even though there's this thing called margin of error. For example, let's go to what they call the blue wall, which is Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan and so on and so forth. Almost in every case, she was slightly ahead in the polls, and so while we accept that it was within the margin of error, we believe that because they were consistent saying that she was 2 points over 3. In Michigan, in Wisconsin, she was several points. She was outside the margin of error. So we believe that even though the poll was saying it was dead heat, whatever you want to call it, she was always the positive number up. So she may be a point up or 2, So she was always within have a fighting chance. What turned out last night is that she lost the entire blue wall.
Right.
We never expected that. And there are other states outside that blue wall, going over to North Carolina, and Georgia. Well, Georgia was the only. Georgia and North Carolina, I think, a little bit, had Donald Trump looking better than her. But for the most part, all the others, of the 7 of them, there are 7 battleground states. And she was consistently in there with a point or 2 up, and sometimes more. So we thought she had a great chance of success. Then when you look at what she was relying on, the female vote, because of the impact that we believe the abortion issue would have. We believe that was strong for her. The appeal of the many stars, the star power that came to our assistance,
Right.
We believe that all of that would have brought in more young people who, generally do not vote. So
Right.
we thought that, boy, she would have brought in, a new constituent of voters that would have tipped the scale in our favor. So the result was shocking to us.
So what do you think now? Looking back at it, what do you think went wrong?
Let me tell you, the amount of things that went wrong is the amount of people you ask. If you ask, give us your take on what you think went wrong. My view, I have a simple view about it. So let us not just talk about Kamala. I place the Democrats losing the election squarely at the feet of the President Biden. I think that is the singular biggest reason for the failure of the Democrat to do a repeat. We call that two-peat, and let me explain to you what it is.
Yes, I want
President Biden is a great guy. Nobody can take that from him. He has had over 50 years of public service. He has done well. He has been consistently in the corner of minorities and so on and so forth. Somebody is a decent human being. So this is what has happened to him over the last 20 years. He spent 8 of it, as the vice president for Barack Obama. And after that, Hillary Clinton would have gone up against Trump, and Trump won. That's the 2016 election.
Right.
Biden wanted to run after his thing with Barack. I think he was discouraged there. And after Hillary lost, he put up, wanted to go. And I know of a fact, because I've read about the account of it, that Barack discouraged him, did not want. He said, boss, you don't need this anymore. No. You've had years of sterling performance in the Senate. You have come and, you and I have done wonderful things, as my, VP, and go and take a break now. That's it. But nobody could talk him out to wanting to run. So he went after Trump did his first term, went back against good advice to run for the presidency, and he won. So fine. After that, the man is now 81 years old. That is when I don't think it should take anybody to him say, do not go back. Call time on this one right now. So in other words, he should not have put up himself to run again at the end of his presidency.
So do you think that would have given Kamala a late start then?
Exactly. So he went back up. And you see, the practice in America is that if you're the president, people don't challenge you. So if you say you want to run, you almost go unchallenged. And that is what happened. There's always this courtesy of giving you the freedom to say you back it off. Then, so he went in and months into his campaign, because he's back now. Egged on by his wife. I think his wife wanted him to run more than him want to run, which has become a problem. So at the point where people now start to question his mental acuity and so on and so forth, say, hello, you don't have the physical strength to go another 4 years. You don't sound like you're ready to do another. The pressure came on him, particularly after the debate that he had with Trump. And so he had to step down at that time. That now only allowed whoever it was, forget about Kamala for a minute, whoever it was, after him step down there, it would only allow whoever it was, about 15 weeks to campaign before the election. So that is the problem. I've never seen anybody in my lifetime, and I've been living a long time, where they'd only had 15 weeks to campaign for such a big prize. So that was the problem, the narrowness. But the problem became even bigger because he did not only step down, he anointed the person who was supposed to succeed him. So he said, all right, I see everybody will step down. And so he reluctantly stepped down and then move on to say, hey, boy, a Kamala may I deal with. A Kamala may want. Now, there are people who were against the pressure to have him step down. So there are some Democrats, I mean, I say some, I mean significant numbers of them, who were upset with the move to force him out of the race. So when he came up and said, all right, I'm going to step down, but I come out of my want. All those who are now pushing to get somebody else decide that the best thing to go with, go with him. Go with his call. Because if we are pushing him out and people are vexed about it. So let us go to the consensus candidate. Let's work with the candidate that he is supporting with his Kamala. Because there were another 3 or so people out there that people said would have done a much better job against Trump. So Kamala was not necessarily the best person, but she was the consensus person. In that, if you had put anybody else, there was the fighters too who would not agree and who disagree and so on and so forth. So the vast majority of people said, let us agree with him. And so that's how we end up with Kamala. She had very little to no experience in this thing. She had never been leadership position like what you call it now, a governor or a mayor or anything like that. Our thing was to move from her being a attorney general to being a senator, and so she came up a little short on experience. So I am putting everything down to Biden.
So you're saying he's a woman. The woman, the gender issue was not the main cause of he losing the election.
Well, let me tell you, nobody can take anything out of it. So all I've put up there right now is that you have a person who was not time tested. She was not time tested for it because she came in by anointment, and she did not. Whoever it was would have had a very short period of time. When she came in, she was little known to Americans. Nobody didn't know her. Being a senator, there are a lot of senators in America right now. You don't know that. You don't. If you see them name and bullet it, you don't know that's a senator name. You don't know because the nature up there.
How is it you're saying the absence of experience would have such a vast impact on she losing the election? But Trump did not have experience either.
No, okay, let me just finish this point and get back to the experience. Okay. So I'm saying that as a start, nobody knew. Very few people knew her. Just go vote for people you don't know. I've been in marketing all my life, and one of the first things you want to do for a new product is to build awareness for it. You have to put them out, so she would, the activity would be to get her to be fully known. She's on every talk show, she's on every television major network, she's, on the podcast. But if you notice what was happening, so that is what would have been the need in the short space of time. But they decided that, no, we can't put her out there right now, and they start to hide her because they discovered that she was not ready for prime time. So you have a problem where she's not known. And what they should do to get her known by making her available. If you remember the first major interview that she did, she went on the television's network with her vice president sitting beside her. It's like she was not confident enough to go as the president in waiting, and all having to do with that, not having the confidence. So I'm putting first and foremost the fact that she did not get enough time.
107 days.
Yeah, right. Whether she's a man or a woman, that would have been a problem. But so let's go now to the point, the question you ask about whether the woman thing or the was a factor. There's no doubt in my mind that gender is an issue. At the back of most men's mind, women can't take a big job like running a country like the United States.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't think so. We don't think women have the stomach for it. We don't think women are as rational. A woman would just fly off the cuff and do things that they shouldn't and so on and so forth. That's the impression we have of women, which is totally wrong. Totally wrong. And that is something that needs to change. So I can see the gender bias against her. There's no doubt about that. The question is, how big a role did that play into it? I do not believe it because she's a woman that she lose. But I do know that it would have contributed. So it will be a sum of a number of things that caused her to fail. She's not only a woman, she's a black woman. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about that other part of it. But no attempt at analyzing what happened is complete if you do not look at the messaging from the Democratic Party and that from the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. The messaging from the Democratic Party was confused. Say what we want to say about Trump. We don't like him. He's a racist. He no sense. He might this and so on and so forth. But we can't say Trump don't have any experience.
No. I'm talking about in his first presidency, he did not come up the pipeline of a political pipeline, so he didn't have any experience, and he won the election. Do you think that Trump? Now, let me just answer this question. Do you think that Trump benefit from having running against a woman? He had done it twice. Do you think he gained anything from that? Or is it just Trump? Because Trump was popular before. He won. He's Trump, Donald Trump, the big Donald Trump. Wherever you go, you would have seen it. He was gained fame on The Apprentice as well. Do you think that? What do you think Trump benefit from becoming a president? Given the fact that one of the most common things people talk about Donald Trump is arrogance, is ignorance, is he's a liar, and and all he's vulgar and all that. People that's one of the most common things people talk about it. People don't think that he's a good he's not a good person to represent the country, but yet still he won twice. What is it that Trump benefit from? Why Trump? Why Trump? In your opinion, why?
Okay, so one of the questions I hear people asking, a lot of Democrats are asking, because they're going to morality, they are going to character, they are going to personality, they're going to all kind of things. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they have their children emulate Donald Trump, mm-hmm. As if that is the criteria for becoming the president of the United States. The thing is, Donald Trump, and this is what is dangerous about him, and for those who don't like him, but what is very useful and attractive about him for those and the Republican Party who want to form the government. Donald mm-hmm. Trump will do whatever it takes to become president. So now, usually that's a bad thing. That man will do anything to become something, to achieve mm-hmm. something. So that in itself is a character flaw. However, that is Donald Trump. But let us go into the answer to your question.
Yes.
Donald Trump knows what America's biggest fear is. The Americans' biggest fear. There's a tendency we have, and that is why everybody was clapping Kamala about our messages positive, and paint a nice picture for next year, and so on and so forth, and thing. The fact of the matter is, human beings, Dennis, do not only respond to a great story, a great vision of a great tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Human beings also respond and are motivated by their fears. If you get the point I'm making, it is one thing to say, boy, I remember many years ago when I was studying, there was this story that was put to us about a major in the army looking at his troops and saying, it is about to rain, and where we are, if we stay here, we are going to get wet and we won't have anything to eat. We are going to be hungry. And the man look at them and say, okay, well, look over there. There's a tree over there that we can go and shelter. It's a very positive story. And then guess what? The tree has berries on it. So when you go over there and you're nice and dry, you can even climb the tree, get some berries, and you'll get something to eat. And everybody does jump and follow the major over there. That's a great visionary story about a great tomorrow. So they follow the major there. But the fact is that human beings also are very, very moved by their fears. If you tell the people that if you stay here, I heard a lion roar around the corner. And if we do not leave from here to go somewhere, the lion is going to come and have all of us for lunch. Everybody is going to move because their fear of something happening to them. And I give you this story that 20 years, so 25 years ago, maybe, I was traveling through Miami airport, and there was a New York, what do you call it, a Time magazine. And on the front of the Time magazine were some, Hispanic looking people, fully. And what the story was, that in 40 years, Hispanics are going to be the majority race in America. And when you read this story, what was quite clear in there is that white Americans were fearful of that happening, where Hispanics or any other race, whether Hispanics or black or brown people coming into America, to make white people the minority race. It means that if that be the case, it means that white people now would have to be subjected to whatever the Hispanics want because they're my majority race. And Trump know about that fear that exists among white Americans, that they are fearful that the influx of Hispanic, and at the time when I was talking to you, the issue of the southern border was not on anybody's radar. Right. People was being allowed in normally through the legal channels and so on and so forth. A lot of people coming up through Mexico from El Salvador and Guatemala and and so on, Nicaragua and so on and so forth, under the normal channels. But white America is fearful of white Americans becoming a minority race. Donald Trump knows that. And so that is what he built his campaign around. So he's not even saying it's only white, only brown and black people coming in. He's saying that it's some prisoners or some murderers they're sending coming. And look how Biden and him friend them open up the border and the people them coming in and so on and so forth and thing. That's a solid message. Solid. He stayed on it because he's playing on the fears of white America. Right. When you go to the Democrats' message now, one of the big problems that the Democrats had was the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's a no-winner for them. If them say they must support the Israeli, which is what they keep saying, the Arab, the Islamic or Muslim community, no one hear them. And if them ever say them a deal with the Palestinian and the war must done and thing, and them lose the Jews and lose the thing. So they had that conflict. And if you listen to Kamala, she just sounds so confused. She said something like, we support we are unwavering in our support, for Israel and its ability and right to protect itself, to defend itself. So it said that boldly. And then it go on to say in the very same sentence, the war against the Palestinians must be brought to an end, knowing full well that not in Israel. The Prime Minister is saying that the war have to go on because that's how we protect ourselves. That's how we defend ourselves.
Right.
So there's a no win there. But the other thing that was of note why she did not do so well was the economy. If you watch the program last night, most of the exit polls saying that the thing that was most on their minds, the economy. The economy was the most pressing thing on the minds of voters. And I think she did a very, very bad job of dealing with that when that is such a big thing on their minds. I think, the average voter walk away thinking that the Democrats do not have any solution to the economic problem that they're having.
Right.
But the problem that she had is that the economy is pinned on her boss, President Biden. And so how she deal with it when the people come up with it, she has to be walking chalk line because she don't want to say something about it that's going to offend Biden. Because Biden have to take responsibility for the economy.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to solve a problem, my brother, if you want to solve a problem, or if you want to get people to believe that you can solve the problem, you first have to understand that problem. You have to understand what it is that caused the economy to be what it was, where prices went up in the supermarket and the gas station and so. You have to express an understanding of it. And to get to that understanding and to express it, because when you express it, that people will say, okay, that is the reason why we have the problem. Probably because of COVID, probably because of, what the war in Ukraine, or probably because Biden policies, whatever. When you understand it and say, these are the reasons why we have a problem, people will look at you and say, since he has expressed an understanding of it, it's more likely that they'll be able to solve it because they understand what's going on. She did not address the thing at all. She just go on like say, all the problem that people are bringing about the economy don't exist. Because to express an understanding of it is going to indict Biden, because some of it is, in fact, Biden's economic policy that resulted in some of these inflationary measures. So in order to sidestep it, because you don't want to hurt Biden's ego and so on and so forth, she come across as if she don't have a solution to a huge problem that the American society have. And you can't do that if you want to win.
Do you think, though, if Biden had run the election, he would have done better?
There's no chance of Biden doing any better. There's no chance of Biden doing any better. Kamala, the result with Kamala is very, very bad. I must say that. I agree. But she has not
won.
So
you're saying to me that Biden could have done the same or worse?
Biden have done worse. Worse.
So you think worse than that?
Let me tell you something. Okay. So you have to look at what went in with. You have to look at what went in with Kamala as to what would have gone in with Biden. With Kamala, she got over $1 billion of donor funding. Over $1 billion. Biden would not get anything that near to that. For a matter of fact, that's what the donor said. We're not doing 1 more cent to you because you need to go. Because you can't walk.
Okay. You wouldn't get the support then.
All the stars that came out with and bring some interest and energy to Kamala's thing. Biden will not get any because people shut down and say, you're not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
So it is with all of that support, he would not have been able either to bring the energy personally by turning up at all of these. If you notice, Kamala was doing 2-3 venues a day and so on and so forth. Biden have the energy to do it. And so it would be a serious deal. It would be a wipeout, I believe. A lot of people were planning to stay home, when Biden was doing it. So he would not have done any better. But he believes so. He believes he would have done better.
Right. The stock went up today. I don't know if you noticed that the stock went to the roof today. Do you think what caused it? Is it that the people are so in favor of this guy? What really going on? Or the other question that I probably should have asked you: what does this mean, in your opinion, towards racism? And the reason I ask that is that Donald Trump came under umbrella of being racist. A lot of people said that about him, and he went so strong. What does this, in your opinion, what does this mean towards racism in our society here in the US? Do you think it is alive and well to the 2024?
Well, let me tell you something. The issue of racism and the charge or the claim that Donald Trump is racist have some merit. He's coming from a time where people can point to incidents of racist, move on his part, dating all the way back to the 70s when him and his father were operating, residential businesses in New York, where they were acting bias against Black people. I mean, that is not some tale out of school that went to court and was settled against them. I don't know if you remember that thing in Central Park with the 5 Black boys who were, accused, of, that with the white woman and so on. And these people were eventually exonerated, that they had nothing to do with the crime. And Donald Trump, because they were Black, were actively, he ran several full-page ads trying to get the kids, convicted. Now, even after they were exonerated and freed, and people said, Donald, hello. I mean, the people I'm free now, you are actively trying to do this thing. You need to, apologize. Him was sorry that the guys them were released. So you have hardcore evidence of his racist tendencies. I can tell you this. What do we mean by racism? How does it manifest itself? And I can tell you that the early view of a white man against a Black man, or a Negro, what is to call him, is that Black people have a low IQ, low intelligence, that they are not quite up there. In the days of slavery, for example, where you had a slave trade where people would leave all the way from Britain and got involved with the transatlantic slave trade that brought slaves from, Africa to, this part of the world. What they said today when they were getting involved with it, and there are people in Britain who didn't like it. That, boy, you can't treat human beings like that. You force them and take them from their family and bring them on forced labor and so on and so forth. The response of these slave traders was that them people will go catch Africa, them no full man, them no full man, them a half man.
Yeah.
Them not fully developed, their brain are developed. So from as early as that, the view about a Black man by the racist white people is that Black people are not fully up to the speed mentally, educationally, and so on and so forth, of white people. If you listen to Donald Trump, every reference he made to Kamala is that she's of low IQ. She's not intelligent. She's of low IQ, which is saying exactly how, racist white people think about black people. We don't have the intelligence, we don't have the IQ, we are just some little thing now. We are kind of like primates, we are like monkeys, and then, we run up and down in a tree and so on and so forth. So those are clear evidence. And when of him using it in his campaign, because he knows that there's a huge constituent of people out there who believe the same thing and agree with him. And so Kamala, with all the things I've been saying about her, would have been at a severe disadvantage, because 80% of the country are white people. 80% of the country are white people. And so if you can find a significant number of those who share your racist views, you're well ahead of it. And he was focused on it. Donald Trump said very little about the economy that was of some benefit to him. If he could have, he was always focused on making out Kamala to be less than capable and able to run the White House, and she has a low IQ, and she's of low IQ, and so that is what it was, and so when you put the fear that I spoke about earlier about white people believing that black and brown people are going to come and take over the country, and then I said, this one while coming out, this is a person who has held high offices, in California, in terms of the, attorney general and being a senator. Those are high offices in the country. This is not a thing where you can just take up a monkey and make the monkey into those things. But he prey on the ignorance of people who believe that black people are not capable. So Kamala had that double level, double barrier, double bridge to cross, in terms of her being a woman and being a black woman.
Oh, most definitely. I support that. A lot of people this morning, from last night actually, because I was in that space where we were watching the election, and when it started to take shape for Donald Trump, a lot of black people express fears, and even today on the street, you'd have seen this fear. Do you think that another 4 years of Donald Trump, which we had 4 years of him before, should have generated the level of fear that I hear people, expressing? What is he coming with today that he have not?
Well, let me tell you something. One of the big problems, and that's an excellent question, because you can have an Nimpo run the presidency, because you have great people around them that could say, no, do this and do that, and so on, so on and so forth. But if you have a determined evil person, you have a big problem. In Donald Trump's, as it relates to Donald Trump, he has made it very clear what he's going to do when he becomes president. His vindictiveness is going to be put on show. The people who are opposing him and so on, him said that he's going to go after them. So Americans are not accustomed to a president coming in and say he's going after their opponents. So that's a fear, because trust me, you don't go after opponents and then it is as simple as that, because that will start a strife. If anybody, these are the people we are going after. These are people with constituents and people who support them, and and them say, no, you can't do that, and they're going to fight back. They're going to push back. The other one is that he promised that he's going to have mass deportation. And they even go to the point where they said, no business if they are here illegally now. How them come in was not legal. In other words, they're saying, they come through the southern border. that part was not legal. So when them reach up a New York or reach up Texas and the man make them legal, he said from them never come in legal, now deport the whole of them. So people who have their families and so on and so forth, who have settled into the country doing wonderful work, are going to be, be nervous about that plan for mass deportation.
Mass deportation. Okay.
And these things could result in riots on the street in California, riots in the streets in Mexico, riots in the streets in Nevada, riots so people, it just sounds like a madman coming into office. But you don't show the level of control, and decorum and so on and so forth. It gives rise to people expecting the worst, and that's where the nervousness come in. And he has made several promises as to first. There's one of the big one, which is stupid, that he's gonna put tariff, 50% on goods coming in from China, that coming in from Mexico, and all of that. The people who understand how tariff works will know that that is going to be inflationary. So if you're gonna a car coming in from Mexico and you buy about 50%, what it is saying, you have to go pay 50% more for that car or any goods that the tariff goes under. So people have some genuine fear about them and the stupidness.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Rani. You had step on the platform and you had clarified some of the things that concern most of us, my followers. Is there any final thought you want to leave with us before we close out? We have 2 minutes.
I would just say quickly that it is a very difficult time for most people who are worried about the Trump presidency, but no one should allow that to make them skip a beat. America is huge, and Trump came up with some foolishness before, and the system did not allow him. For example, if you remember, he came with the ban on Africans coming to America, and the court did not allow it. Much of the fear that we have about him is that we think that he is the one who set up the court, he is the one who appointed the judges, and so he can't come and do anything the judges are going to. But it tend not to be like that. It tend not to be like that. So people must go ahead and do what Kamala said in her speech. Just be positive about it. Go on. America has had a tradition of government changing from one to the next. As ridiculous as Donald Trump is sound and appear, the system is bigger than him. For the small man like me and you, our lives gonna go on like Trump is not there. You're gonna find that he's no worse than Biden was. And the despair with us not to keep it quiet.
Yes, and in 3 more years, he will be the same age as Biden. So the possibility is high for the same issue that Biden is facing, that he will face.
A lot of people don't believe that he's finished his term. A lot of people think that he's but I don't know how much better his vice president. But a lot of people don't believe that he's going to finish his term.
Yeah,
and for good reason. One other day you can think about why you don't think he's going to finish his term.
Thank you very much, sir, and for stopping by. And we look forward to have you again, sir. Much love and blessings.
Respect, no problem now.
All right, sir. So there we have Sir Ronald Sutherland stopping by and gave us his thoughts and opinion and last night's outcome of the election. Guys, I know I went to work today and I have seen many people getting upset, people crying, but I also see many rejoicing as well. So I guess we just have to wait it out, see what's gonna happen, and be patient You know, don't do nothing stupid. You know, just wait and see, because I don't know. I'm not in favor of any politician. What I know, somebody will have to sit in the seat, and it so happened that it's Donald Trump taking take a second shot at it. So we have no choice but to wait and see. Um, I think I have somebody that trying to join, but I don't know what's going on. You have left me in the hold on. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Come in. So we just have to wait and see. The show is not in. It's not yet, and we're waiting for Dr. Rupert Francis to come and be a part of us. But I don't know what's going on in his life. All right. Try again. Dr. Rupert Francis is trying to come in and give us his take on what how he view the election, but I guess he's having some technical difficulties. Not seeing him at all. But yeah, while we wait for Dr. Rupert Francis, it is what it is, guys. Don't have no fear. Life goes on. You know, I know a lot of people enemies, build enemies since the election season. I've been in spaces where I see people like getting mad, you know, trying to curse out each other because one would have predicted this outcome for the election, and many don't share the same sentiment, and so with that, people are hating on each other for it. But at the end of the day, it is just politics. I don't know what's going on with Dr. Rupert Francis, who trying to come in, and I don't want to break and then come back in. But what is going on? Anyhow, let me just ask you kindly to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. While we wait for Dr. Rupert Francis to come in, let me call again and see what's going on with him. There has been some technical thingy going on his side. Yeah. Dr. Francis. I don't know what's going on with the man. The man is here, but the man is having some issue. I don't know what's going on with the man. Come in, Dr. Francis. In the meantime, let me check something. What's going on? I don't see the man. I guess he have some technical difficulties. So at this point, I have no choice but to end the broadcast. Dr. Francis, we are waiting for you, sir. We are waiting. I think he's saying something, but I can't hear him at all. This don't make no sense. This don't make any sense. So at this point, I guess I have no choice but to. I can't do that. All right, let me. Yes, sir. Huh? I don't know. I can see you behind there, but you're not coming in. Should I just end the show? I have no choice. Anyways, guys, nice having you to stop by. I want you to like, share, and subscribe as always. While Dr. Francis tried to figure out what's going on with his device. I see you're coming in and said device is not connected. Yeah, yeah, you actually have 3 screen up here. So we're gonna work on Dr. Francis' technical difficulties that he's facing. Have a good evening, guys.
Big up Sutherland TV. You see me? You wanna be me? Then log on to Sutherland TV.